Hello, all my people. Hello, hello, hello. Can you make me big screen for a second? Princey, I want to be with the people, Chad. I want to be with the people. What did the Ariel say? I want to be where the people are. Come on, somebody. How are y'all doing? I want to see it in the chat. Who we got with us before we get the party started again with our fireside chat, okay, with Dr. Rumman Choudhury. I want to see Benjamin. Hello. Good to see you again. Where are my people at? Who else is in the chat? I see Brittany is here in the chat. I want to see also who is here, but then I also want to see what are you gleaning? What are you gaining today? Okay. Thank you, Paradna. Hello, hello. Come on. Ali is in the house. William's in the house. Jeremy's in the house. I love it. I love it. I love it. I want to see from y'all. Talk to me. What's it giving? Okay. Is it giving you're the next AI leader? Are you gonna transform your organization? I want to see, I want to hear from y'all. Okay. I want to know what y'all are learning. I have been loving my sessions today. Okay. I love Beth's session was so good. I don't know who was in that session before, but Beth's session was so good. Okay. I also loved Kelly's session on this stage as well. Talking about just you gotta get started. Okay. Just start. Start with where you are. Okay. And then you're gonna continue to grow over time. I love it. I love it. And also, Beth is currently doing a lounge. Y'all got about 6 more minutes. If you want to get into her lounge, I'll give you permission to leave me. Yes, I know it's very sad. But okay, thank you. I understand, Benjamin, right? I get it. I get it. I'll give you permission to leave me. You got about 6 more whole minutes to check out with Beth. Before we start our next fireside keynote session, let's go over a couple of what they say, pay some bills, if we will. Let's pay some bills, if we will. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Okay, yeah. Can you share my perfect? So, have y'all heard the news? AI Summit Plus. Okay, remember, not Summit Minus. Okay, AI Summit Plus. This summit is sparking ideas, but this is gonna help you guys turn chaos into clarity. Okay. We have the AI leadership immersion. You're gonna explore your org's AI maturity, develop a board-ready strategy. What they say, get your board on board. Come on, somebody, and put guardrails in place for safe adoption and focus on the mindset of AI leadership and the skills you need to lead the change and drive value. Summit Plus for Leaders is packed with over 5,000. 5,000. I can use 5,000. I don't know about you, but come on, whether it's in kind or actual. All right. And we're giving you a 3-week immersion, 12 months of AI Spark sessions, and a living resource pack and a mission-first community of peers. All of this for $665. You get it until September 17th. Don't say I didn't give you nothing, okay? Use the discount code FAI Summit at checkout. Summit Plus, not minus. Get it, y'all. Okay, a lot of y'all been asking, it'd be so great if we could get the recordings, okay? A lot of y'all asking, can we get these recordings? Am I gonna see all the things? The answer is yes. You know I got you. You know I'm here for you, okay? You're gonna get all the recordings for everyone just by being here, okay? Simply log in with your AirMe credentials to watch the replays immediately after the event ends. And check back on the Fundraising iSummit website in about 4 weeks for full access, okay? Also, amplify engagement. Let me go and see who is on the leaderboard. Let me see who is on the leaderboard. Right now, it's loading. Right now, Jacqueline, or is it Jacqueline? Jacqueline is currently in first place. Jacqueline Luera is currently in first place with 9,360 points. I don't know what you're doing, Jacqueline, but Jacqueline, you chatting, and I love that. Okay, Jacqueline, I'm here for you. Come on, Jacqueline, in the chat. Jacqueline, you about to get some free lunch, free coffee, some free books. We about to give you something. Okay. In a close second, who we got in a close second? Sean. Sean Murtha in a close second. Jacqueline, he's trying to get your spot. I don't know, but I see you. Okay, you give me the Q&A, you give me the comments. I'm loving it. Okay, well, y'all, if you want to join the leaderboard yourself, you already know what to do. Talk back to me. Maybe give me an emoji here or there. Okay, ask some questions. All right, and watch your status keep rising. Okay. We want to see you in the, and also don't just engage here. Engage online. Use our hashtags. Tweet me, tag me. Okay. Also, special thanks to all of our sponsors. We want to take a moment. Okay, every single time I'm shouting at somebody new. So we're gonna go ahead and shout out Giving Docs and Data Axle. Okay. I'm gonna give some love to all. It don't matter how big your logo is on this size. It's not about the size of your logo, it's about the size of your love. Okay. And if you made it to this slide, that means you love us and we love you. Thank you to the sponsors. Okay. You're making this entire experience free, and free is para mí. Okay. And then, of course, we want to highlight our presenting partner or our impact sponsor, Giving Tuesday. And y'all, Giving Tuesday is giving you more than Tuesday, okay? They're giving resources, they're giving toolkits, they're giving you free AI days, okay? Come on, somebody, all right? Giving Tuesday is a moment that unleashes the power of radical generosity around the world. Giving Tuesday reimagines a world built upon shared humanity and generosity. Their global network collaborates year-round to inspire generosity around the world. Okay, that's the whole globe. Thank you. With a common mission to build a world where generosity is part of everyday life. Whether it's making someone smile, helping a neighbor or stranger out, showing up for an issue people care about, or giving some of what we have to those who need our help, every act of generosity counts and everyone has something to give. Okay, learn more and access their incredible resource for nonprofits at givingtuesday.org. We also want to highlight our good friends at Spark AI. Spark AI is a fundraising AI platform purpose-built for nonprofits. Their no-code system, I love a good no-code. You have me at no-code, okay? Turns raw donor data into crystal clear predictions, empowering every fundraiser to raise more with less effort. I can get down with that, okay? With Spark, you can predict who will give, lapse, and upgrade, okay? Nonprofits using Spark see measurable impact, average revenue increase of 20%, acquisitions caught by 50%, come on somebody, and campaigns optimized in days, not months. As a thank you, the first 100 people, so don't come out here at 150 talking about they didn't give me enough. The first 100 people to book a demo will receive a free $10 Starbucks. Hold on. Is this available to everybody or is this available to everybody? Okay, well, anyhow, the first 100 people to book a demo will receive a free $10 Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts gift card. Can you say pumpkin spice? Okay. Better fundraising starts with better predictions. See Spark AI in action. Okay, and we have the link. Thank you very much. All right, y'all. Well, I am so excited for our next session. It's giving AI at the Crossroads. Y'all remember that Britney Spears movie, Crossroads? Okay, let me stay on track. Anyhow, AI at the Crossroads, I love it because this is critical. We're talking trust, governance, and human impact, okay? So I want to introduce the one and only Dr. Rumman Choudhury, okay? And when I was reading this bio, I was blown away, okay? So buckle up. Dr. Choudhury is a data scientist and social scientist. She is the co-founder of the tech nonprofit Humane Intelligence, which builds a community of practice around evaluation of AI models. She was appointed by the Biden administration as the first United States science envoy for artificial intelligence. Dr. Choudhury is also a responsible AI fellow at Harvard University's Berkman Klein Center for Internet and Society. Previously, Dr. Choudhury was the director of the ML Ethics, Transparency, and Accountability team at Twitter, as well as the global lead for responsible AI at Accenture Applied Intelligence. She was named one of Time 100's most influential people in AI. Come on, somebody. BBC's 100 Women, Worthy Magazine's top 100 women, recognized as one of the Bay Area's top 40 under 40. Okay, so pretty much you the number one, okay? You the top. I love that, Dr. Choudhury. and named by Forbes as one of five who are shaping AI. Dr. Choudhury holds two undergraduate degrees from MIT, a master's degree in quantitative methods of social sciences from Columbia University, and a doctorate in political science from the University of California, San Diego. Okay, so pretty much what you doing? Because Dr. Choudhury is doing it. Okay. And then, of course, she is joined by our good friend, Mr. Nathan Chappell, the co-founder of Fundraising AI and Chief AI Officer at Virtuous. Y'all, with no further ado, can we bring these two powerhouses to the stage and take it away?
All right. Oh, I guess we're here. I guess we're here. Thank you, Floyd, for just continuing to keep the audience warm or hot, I guess, throughout the entire day. We've gotten so many comments today that people just want to like tune in and listen to you. We've decided that we're going to monetize fundraising AI with a Floyd Jones GPT, and he can just wake you up every morning. So I'm here with a really special guest. Actually, I am so excited. This is a person that I met 2 years ago in Geneva. I saw on stage in a room where I didn't have a lot of confidence in other people speaking. This is a person that stood out. Was like, okay, there's at least one person in this entire room that I feel like understands what's at stake and has some really good ideas about the future of AI and humanity. So, Dr. Rumman Choudhury is with me today for just a quick fireside chat. Dr. Rumman Choudhury, thank you so much for taking the time. And I know you have a very, very busy schedule. So I really appreciate you jumping in with us.
It is absolutely my pleasure, and I wish to tap into Floyd's energy to like fuel me throughout the day, if
Right.
only.
I know. We just need a like an easy button on our phone, just a little dose of Floyd every, little while. Let me just read your bio really quick. I know it's always weird, but I think it's just helpful in terms of just like setting the bar of like, who you are and your accomplishments. So Dr. Ramon Chaudhry, PhD, is a globally recognized expert in responsible AI governance and algorithmic accountability. She is the CEO and co-founder of Humane Intelligence, a nonprofit. Now we're going to talk about that a little bit and moving to a B Corp, community driven AI auditing and evaluation. Appointed as the U.S. Science Envoy for Artificial Intelligence, she engages in global AI governance efforts with a focus on emerging markets. But previously, she led AI ethics teams at Twitter and Accenture, pioneering enterprise level AI risk mitigation tools. You're also responsible AI fellow at Harvard Beckman Klein Center. I just got back from there Saturday night, and a trusted advisor to international organizations on AI policy and ethics. So, total underachiever, total slacker, non-nerd. I mean, all those things. It's you're also credited with being the first person to actually create a responsible AI, a commercially viable, responsible AI practice. So thank you for all that you've been doing in this sector, in this space for quite a while, probably going back. Well, why don't you just share a little bit about your origin story? I know all about Carmen San Diego and Oregon Trail because I watched your interview with Baratunde Thurston, who interesting. Like I quoted him. I was in the Netherlands last year. I quoted him in a. He just had this really profound statement on the future of humanity, and then I saw the two of you just riffing on this. It was just amazing. So maybe, yeah, just a little bit fill in the gaps there, and then we'll dive in for about 20 minutes and kind of what your thoughts are on the present and future state of AI and humanity.
Love it. Well, Nathan, thank you so much for having me. Really excited to be talking to everybody. And this is such an impactful organization. I'm happy to be here because work like this is what's needed to make AI truly beneficial for the world. So by background, I'm actually a quantitative social scientist. So one of the most important things about my training and background that influences a lot of what I do is I think of humanity first and data as sort of a secondary. And for me, whether it is in undergraduate, graduate, beyond, I've always liked data as a way of understanding patterns of human behavior. So I started off in working in public policy, specifically in nonprofits and the public sector. So I am not born. I always joke that I'm not born of tech. I came to tech much, much later, actually, in my 30s, which you can imagine, in the early days of data science. And to me, data science was like the thinking person's job, right? Where a good data scientist thought about the problem, measured, operationalized, and then went went and like built something, and the whole purpose of building was to make it useful for people. And this is kind of how I come into responsible AI and all the work I do today. The most revolutionary thing about generative AI is it took these complicated AI models that for most people were inaccessible, and it put it in the palm of your hand. And
Mhm.
for me, like that was the big chat GPT revolution. It wasn't fancy models that said we actually had those. What we didn't have was a way for everyone to interact with it. And I wanted to take advantage of that interface to say, okay, well, if you can build models and anybody can be influenced by, then anybody should have the right to influence how a model is being built. And that was the genesis of Human Intelligence, the nonprofit. The mission of the nonprofit is to build a community of practice around evaluations. I have a TED talk on this. I call it like the right to repair. But in general, I believe, and this is not a wild belief, that there needs to be an independent community of evaluators, that everybody deserves a say in how models are built. And this is how it works in many different industries: finance, aviation, education. Pharma. People talk about pharmaceuticals as like an analog for AI. It's very rare that there is an industry that builds things that are impactful on human life that do not also enable either third parties or independent evaluation. And that's the world that I'm trying to build.
Yeah, that's amazing, and it's a really kind of unique approach, and not a very popular approach from a sense of financial incentives to provide scale over safety. So the markets will
Right.
basically say the opposite, right? And I started working in AIML in 2017, and this idea that we could measure gratitude, essentially predict which people are likely to make a donation from like giant swaths of data, and turned out we were actually pretty good about it. But I understood the the possibility or probability that people could use that for harm, right? That there was
Hmm.
at the time potential for tremendous bias because the models were not very transparent, they weren't explainable, and so fundraising AI was born from this idea of not advocating for AI, but advocating for both the responsible, beneficial use of AI. I mean,
That's
you
right.
you really pioneered this, and you pioneered it in a very pragmatic way in the sense of like not just going to educate people, which is what fundraising AI does as a I mean, we're a grassroots effort. We're not even a nonprofit. We're just like literally now a community of like, I don't know, 30,000 people from over 100 countries that like care about the future of humanity. But you've taken and we can only do so much because of that, right? We can educate, we could skim across the surface and then kind of connect people, but you've taken a really formalized approach to the point that you created a nonprofit. I'd love for you to talk about what you learned in that, because that's most of the audience joining from all over the world. But then some of those, gaps and limitations and barriers, because I know you're just migrated to essentially a public benefit corporation.
Hmm.
And so, maybe talk a little bit about like the idea of red teaming, because I
Hmm.
think a lot of people in the nonprofit sector actually aren't familiar with that term and that pragmatic approach of actually proving or disproving something. And then, if you don't mind, just kind of that journey from nonprofit to for profit, because people hear about OpenAI and they read the headlines and they're like, "What's going on?" And they're all confused about what a nonprofit is anymore.
Yeah, that is also a very important part of this. So, first, where do I even start? So, Humane Intelligence, the nonprofit, as I mentioned, has worked to build a community of practice for evaluation. What does that mean? That doesn't mean that we need more AI people evaluating AI models. It actually means we need people who are subject matter experts evaluating AI models. And we have worked with everybody from educators. So red teaming specifically is the practice of testing a model until its breaking point. Red teaming, the term actually comes from the military. It's used in cybersecurity, and red teaming is often used as a way for external people, and it means like cybersecurity experts, to come in and try to break past your firewall, just steal passwords, exfiltrate your data, like do all the bad things, right? So you can imagine how red teaming, which came out of the Cold War, so you can understand which side was the red side, where they were the bad guys, the faux bad guys who were testing the safeguards of the actual physical bases that you've built. It's now meant for software. I flipped the idea of red teaming on its head a little bit to say, like, this is not about safety and security in like a traditional way. We're not trying to steal data. It's not malicious actors. It is unintended consequences. And that's a lot of what we think about when we think of the societal impact of AI models. We think about unintended consequences. You and me and your brother or your grandma interacting with something that gives an adverse event, a bad outcome. And that actually, from both a commercial perspective as well as a real world perspective, is actually a very big blocker. And so I don't, unfortunately, it is, and you are correct, is unfortunately framed as being at odds with each other. That when, if you're trying to introduce regulation or ethics, it's going to stop innovation. I have never found that to be true. So most of my career actually has been spent in companies doing this work at Accenture and then Twitter. And overwhelmingly, and even the last 2 years I've done consulting work, overwhelmingly, everybody says the same thing. We want to build AI, but we're not willing to, sacrifice our customer base or have them have bad experiences or break the law, right? So we really want to test these models. So what we do is we've engaged with everybody from students to linguistics experts to architects and more to bring them into testing. And we do this by creating an easy to use interface. We teach them how to do the testing and then we work with them. So one of the most important things about human intelligence is we often work with model owners, and that feedback goes back to actually help improve and change how these models work.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so so from that approach of like actually testing, improving something for the benefit, I think that's just is so important. It's something that we've talked a lot about over the last couple of years, where this idea that innovation and responsibility don't need to be mutually exclusive.
Mhm.
But when we think about the nonprofit sector, and again, this is our audience, that the belief is that the framework for responsible AI looks different in the nonprofit sector that operates in the currency of trust than it does for an organization that's selling tennis shoes or cell phones. And so, therefore, the work that you're doing, and I'm curious to see if you actually kind of ascribe to that. Should it just be like AI that just benefits humanity at large, or are there different standards for different sectors, I guess, based on the risk tolerance or the implication that they may have on society?
Yeah, so I actually differentiate AI for good from responsible AI.
Hmm.
So AI for good is, in a sense, like charitable AI. You are building a language model to preserve indigenous languages. That is for good. It has the use itself has a mission. Responsible AI is umbrella over it because, by the way, one can build an AI for good project unethically. You can
Right.
preserve indigenous languages by bugging everyone's house who speaks that language and stealing the data from them, right? It just because it has a for good moniker or a for good mission does not necessarily mean by default it was done ethically and responsibly. Responsible AI is an umbrella term that covers everything from an algorithm to uh, help you pick what kind of socks you want to this indigenous language preserving algorithm. And the purpose of it is to ensure that your data is being collected responsibly and ethically, it's being used and handled appropriately. So it is an end-to-end way of approaching model development that makes it more sustainable, less likely to break laws, but also less likely to lead to these adverse and bad outcomes. It's less likely to lead to things that will harm people. I'll give a very specific example. So we talk a lot about social media algorithms.
Right.
A big
Right.
part of responsible AI is thinking through what are you optimizing for, and is this overall like beneficial? Is that what you want? Right? So when we say we want user engagement, does that mean we want everyone being polarized and people arguing? It's actually not really what anybody wants who works at a social media company. But there's something called Goodhart's law. Goodhart's law basically means once you've created a measurement for something, the measurement becomes the objective rather than the outcome, and that's a problem because everyone just optimizes towards revenue generation or engagement without really thinking deeply about how engagement is constructed. And responsible AI tells you, no, no, you have to think about what engagement actually means because that's how you avoid the negative downstream outcomes.
Yeah, that I mean, it's so in line with the thought originally. I've also focused in responsible AI early on in the idea in the nonprofit sector that AI should not be well, that it need to be transparent and explainable. And so the
Mhm.
idea of going and protecting your IP and getting patents and all that is a little bit different. I'm curious because we ended up adding the word on it. It came to me one time is that, things like social media, by design, may not be irresponsible, but the overuse or long-term impact of that may not be beneficial to humanity. So we started using responsible beneficial. Other
Mhm.
organizations, I'm sure Nabia Sayed from the Mozilla
Yeah, of
Foundation, they
course.
use
Mhm.
trustworthy. Well, Anthropic uses trustworthy as well, kind of to symbolize that same thing that you can, just because you can doesn't mean you should. I think is part of that as well, is that there's lots of technology will continue to do these impressive things.
Right.
And we need to figure out, how and when is appropriate, and when
Mhm.
we should be able to say no. Your work, I mean, well, I'm imagining is mostly aimed at for-profit entities building frontier models, or is it organizations that are building their own or deploying models for them to understand kind of the limitations of where they should say no?
So we've worked with a wide range of organizations. We've worked with governments, NIST actually under the previous administration. We did a project called ARIA that recruited anybody in America to red team AI models. It was amazing because we then picked the top 30 people and actually flew them out to DC to actually work with companies to do red teaming. We've also worked with groups like UNESCO, and actually in the chat, I'm going to paste a playbook. You had mentioned that a lot of people in this chat work with nonprofits and they don't really know how red teaming fits in. We actually wrote an entire playbook on red teaming for
Excellent.
social good, how you can think about this practice as an organization, how to build and design your own. And so we've worked with UNESCO. We've also worked with private organizations. We have we've conducted one on education. So the types of organizations that come to us are usually tackling bigger societal problems as it relates to AI. So it could be things like gender violence, but it could also be things like how do I understand if an education chatbot that I'm building for children to use doesn't, actually helps them reach their learning goals and does not make them over reliant on the technology.
Yeah.
Issues that are much harder to measure, much harder to operationalize, but very, very salient issues for the long-term success of whatever it is they're building.
That's amazing. Yeah, and thanks for providing those resources. I think the community will find it really helpful. Since you're focused on what I'd consider an area that I'm really passionate about, but most people will be like, "Oh, that's the like governance is like this hard word. It's like it's just it seems so difficult. Like I don't even know where to start." And one of my colleagues, my podcast co-host Scott Rosencrantz, did a how to build an AI governance plan earlier today, because it's actually not that hard. What's hard is actually sticking to it, right? And actually using it as kind of a guidelines for when and how to say no. Essentially, making sure that you're using AI aligned with your values as an organization, and then giving yourselves permission. I think in a lot of cases to make sure that you're deploying AI in a way that is that you'd be proud of, right? What
Yeah.
advice do you have from like that governance seeming like this like scary thing, that it's either like this committee work and it doesn't really go anywhere? And maybe I'll preface that with this idea that like I've learned that success in AI has very little to do with data and models. It has to do with people and culture, and that's after
Mhm.
probably unsuccessfully deploying custom AI ML for like 200 largest charities in America, and about half of them
Mhm.
succeeded and half of them didn't, and they all had the same model process. Really, that there's no difference. It's the people and culture. So, but I've also realized that to enable that curiosity and to enable that kind of sense of discovery within organizations, they have to be grounded by something. So, is there any
Right.
advice or thoughts that you have on this idea, like governance is not a bad word? It's not something that's just a nice to have, but essentially an imperative for organizations as a starting point?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm pasting another article, and
Oh,
this actually
awesome.
comes during from my time at Accenture. So a lot of the work I did early responsibly, I especially a lot of strategy consulting, and I still actually do that work today. So I'm seeing in the chat a lot of people saying, "Oh, wow, I want to take this back to my organization." Feel free to reach out to me. I'll also put my personal website up here, and you can always reach out via there. But the archive paper I posted was actually a meta-analysis of all the work we had done and what we learned. So we interviewed multiple different practitioners, and while this article was a few years ago, it is still salient today. And in the article, we go through like 5 very specific things that organizations need to do to be successful in responsible AI and AI governance. Of course, the landscape has changed since then. So the only thing I would add to it, and feel free to take a look at it, but we talk about things like tone from the top, clear division of responsibility and labor, methods of secure anonymous user like feedback from your organization, and multiple different things. Oh, actually, my favorite one, which is the most important one, I think, is like success measurement for both people and models. So you want to build AI responsibly, you have to measure what that means and incentivize people via performance measurements, but also figure out how to measure that in your models. The thing I will add in the Gen AI world, this is where different kinds of testing come in. And I mentioned earlier that we have the .org, which we've been talking about quite a bit, as well as the .com. So
Mhm.
I'm really excited because literally just like 1 week ago, I announced that we've built a .com version of the company, so the organization. So both organizations exist in an ecosystem. The purpose of humanintelligence.com is to then make it easy for people to execute AI governance. What does that mean? That means that AI governance is a multi-stakeholder issue and it is socio-technical. And I think governance as a field tends to be quite legal and compliance heavy, but now AI evals, as they're called, or AI evaluations, are quite technical,
Mm.
right? So you have to have people who are sticking their hands in the models and doing the testing. So how do you pull those two together? And that's literally what the for-profit organization is doing. We are building the infrastructure for evaluation. So a great starting point is that archive paper I posted, which is how do you create a governance structure in your company? And then step two, which is what we're making with the for-profit, is great. Now, what are the tools that I need to scale that technically?
That's amazing. Yeah, thank you for providing all those resources. I know we could go on for a long time, but we have 2 minutes left. So I'm really curious about this. I host a series of dinners when I'm traveling around the country called Dinner of Extraordinary Humans, and it's just different people who don't know each other. They come together, and I usually ask a question of like, what advice would you give to your younger self? But instead of doing that in context, that's what most people should do. That just reflect on what advice would you give to your younger self. I'm curious what advice your 2035 self would give to your 2025 self. Like, is there anything that's pertinent today that you think like you could like your future self's going to come back in time and give you a piece of advice? What would it be?
I feel like it's something that I struggle with quite a bit, which is like focus. I think I think everybody struggles with it right now because there are so many things pulling our attention in 15 million directions all the time. And I think that especially in a post COVID world, in the COVID world, it was a little bit more manageable because we were in one place. In the post COVID world, now it's all of the social media stuff, all of the work obligations, all of the globalization of AI, plus the fact that everybody wants to do everything in person. So I think it would be, Ramon, like disappear for 3 months, focus on something, do it incredibly well. I think in especially in an AI driven world, it's very easy to do many things poorly.
Yeah.
And this is like global advice I actually give to a lot of people. Like you are better off doing a few things well than many things poorly. And
That
AI enables that so much. It's so easy to do lots of very baseline level things.
Yeah, I call it opportunity overwhelm. I live in a
Yeah.
constant state of it. I think it's great advice. So actually, as we round up, this is interesting because I watched this interview with you and Baratunde Thurston, and the quote we can end with this because he made this quote on the or a poem on the cuff at some session he was doing. I think New York Times or something. It says, "I wonder if our obsession with intelligence of an artificial nature has us wandering too far from our essential human nature. If the answer to every question can be generated in a flash, then it is time for us to question." Just what do we want to ask? And I thought that was so great. I mean, just getting to the heart of humanity. But I want to thank you so much again for taking a little bit of time out of your super busy schedule and providing these resources. I really encourage people, and I know there's a bunch of people in this session, and we will have a lot more people watch it after the fact too. Is to reach out to you, learn more about your work. I mean, you have some incredible interviews that really get to the heart of moral outsourcing, which is like something I'm like super interested in. People really need to follow you and then
Thank
subscribe
you.
because you're just putting out incredible content that I think could be really beneficial. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.
All right, and we'll hopefully see you soon.
All right. Have a good day.
Thanks.
Not me on mute and me just living my best life. Okay, that was amazing. How incredible was that session, y'all? Put it in the chat. That was incredible, and I was just overwhelmed with the good gems there. Okay, first of all, Dr. Choudhury said the power of focus. The power of focus. We have so many things fighting for our attention, fighting for our emotions, fighting for our reactions. Come on, somebody, right? And now is the time to dig deep into what is inside, right? Dig deep into what is inside. What my good sis at the beginning of the day, Mal, said, close your eyes, put your hand on your heart, and listen. Your life is always speaking to you, right? And all the different tools and all the different tips and all the different strategies that we're talking about today, it's only going to be as successful and beneficial and helpful as you are. You have to get clear why you are here, right? Especially right now. So Dr. Choudhury was just giving us the gems. Come on, somebody. Also, Nathan, if you're still on this call, I need an invite to one of those dinners, child. I'm a good dinner guest. Okay, we gonna be laughing, we're gonna be talking. I need an invite. Okay. All right, y'all. What did y'all think about this session? What did y'all think about this session? Scan the QR code and please let us know, because we want to keep on bringing you amazing insights all year long. Okay, let's keep it going. Up next, y'all, how do y'all feel? I'm feeling good. I don't know about y'all, but I'm feeling good. Okay. I got my ring light. I got my water. My water says unleash generosity. Come on, somebody. All right. I'm feeling good. I hope you're feeling good. We have even more amazing content in store. On the Amplify stage with yours truly is Mr. Arnie Katz from GoFundMe Pro, the future of giving, how AI can power more personable, scalable fundraising. If you want your fundraising to scale, I know that's right, okay? Also, we have Fundraising 2.0, predicting donor behavior from data to impact. Love that, okay? That's from Judah Phillips. And then on the impact stage, we have AI in action, how fundraisers are scaling personalization and engagement. The virtuous team Tatango and MSU Denver in the house. Okay, y'all, if you don't remember how to get there, head to the reception area. Or no, I'm sorry, at the top right of your corner, you're gonna see the schedule. Okay, bookmark the sessions that you want to go to. Okay, click it and hang out and go and jump in when they are live. Okay, y'all, I am so grateful for you all. The fun has just begun. I don't know if y'all ever saw High School Musical when they said the party just begun. Oh no, that's Cheetah Girls. I'm sorry, I'm messing up my Disney Channel. Anyhow, I'll see you guys soon on the Amplify stage or any other stage. I'll see you soon. Later.